You are now checking out
The Win Podcast,
where the everyday people
are the celebrities.
So let's get to know them.
Ajada Reigns. I am from Newark, New Jersey. I grew up in between Newark and New York, with a little bit of Southern in me. I grew up singing in church. That's like the root of my singing. I developed strong vocal cords from screaming in the dentist, because I used to like a lot of candy. And they used to just let me scream, and so that was like my vocal exercise.
That is
you know
hilarious.
And so then when I went back to church, it was like really, really built up there. I started professionally recording around the age of 12. Yeah, I went to Professional Performing Arts on 48th Street in Manhattan. And there I learned to, sing in different languages. I learned operatic techniques, different things. I wasn't professionally trained until that point. And I had a really, really, really tough music director, vocal director, and she was really, really tough on me, really pushed me. I was formerly known as Samira Gibson. A lot of people don't know that Ajada is my middle name. And so my name is Samira Ajada Gibson. And that is within the past recent years. I decided to go by my middle name by encountering a woman who, she's an author. She helps other women with their journey. And I met her at an event called Journey to the Crown. Go figures, right? And she said to me, she was signing my book, and she says, "What is your middle name? You have to look into exactly what your middle name means." And so for me, I've never really looked into my middle name, because my mom totally made it up, because she likes the stone jade. And so she named me, she didn't want to say Ajada. There were a few Ajadas, so she wanted to name me Ajada, something a little bit different. But it turned out that Ajada meant Empress of the Mecca land. And I didn't figure that out until going to Ghana and having that experience. And so here I am, and I am now being reintroduced to my artistry and walking more in my purpose within the last 5 years of my artistry. So in a nutshell, that's Ajada Reigns.
Wow.
Nice. That's a beautiful message. It seems
is.
like you had to go through this journey to earn that name, because you had the name, you earned it, but you had to go through that journey to know the true meaning of it,
And find
to know the true meaning of it.
and connect it with yourself.
What was that like, that journey in Ghana for you?
Oh man, it was actually very emotional. I didn't expect my emotions to, I guess, be the way they were. I was very emotional when I got ready to leave. Actually, I almost didn't want to leave. I got a chance to stay maybe about three months or so. And bought all my recording equipment out there. I went out there strictly just to, record videos and, work with other artists over there that I had been in communication with. So the first time I went, it was just an experience. And then by the time I went to go the second time, it was more, definitely more intentional. In my artistry. So it was an experience, and gotten a chance to work with kids over there. I love working with kids. So even working with them and giving them a sense of purpose and it was an experience. It was quite an experience over there. I was in Ghana.
I wanna share how we met. Because I think it connects to how your name and the imprints that you leave on people, right? So like you know, on the train every now and then people will come in or whatever, like it's showtime or whatever. What time it is? Showtime. So I'm on the 6th train, and you know I'm on my way to something. I have my guitar or whatever. But anytime someone comes in and about to sing or whatever, I lower my music. I was like, I'm gonna check it out. So here comes at the time Samara Gibson. She comes in, and I'm like, okay, she's about to start singing, and then she starts singing. It was this beautiful voice. But then what I also loved was the song selection that she picked. That I was like, holy shit, she has balls to do that. That's one, and two, I heard it in a different meaning, how beautiful it was. It was like I think it was like almost like a Sesame Street song. It was like, "Hey, it's a wonderful kind of day," or something like that.
Every day when you're walking down the street, everybody that you meet, they have a different point of view. But we say, hey, what a wonderful time of day. We're gonna learn to work and play and get along with each other.
Yep.
That was
was
the
it.
Arthur theme song.
Oh, there you go.
That's right.
Yeah. So I'm there. One, I'm like, man, that's a great song. And I'm like,
Wow.
man, I heard that from somewhere, but I'm like, I never heard it in that way. And I'm like, at the same time, like the way she did it, and like you heard the message even more. And I remember she came and she gave me her card and blah blah blah. And I was like, hey, you have a beautiful voice. Keep doing what you're doing. And I reached out to her on Instagram because I was like, yo, what you did was so amazing. Like everyone always sings like some type of covers, but I felt like that was like, yes, it was Arthur, but the words were the way that you sang it was like, listen, guys, it is a beautiful day, and like we can make a change, and we should get to know each other. We shouldn't be in New York City all grouchy and negative.
Yes.
And then from there we became friends, and I saw you another time perform. You came to my shows, but I just want to say that, you know, from that day on, you definitely left a print, you know, in my soul, because I was like, wow, I love meeting other creative people, and when they're about the passion and also the art and a purpose about it. And moving forward, I want to talk about, because I remember, I think I either read somewhere on your Instagram or your bio that early on someone told you something like you won't have commercial success with your music because of the way of because what you're singing and the purpose and the meaning behind it. You won't have that commercial success, and you said that you didn't care because you want to make music that has a meaning and fulfills you and fulfills others. When did that click for you to not, like, don't let that comment, you know, take you down, but like build you up to be like, you know what, all right, fine, because that's not the path that I want to be on, because that's not me. I want to stick to what I want to do.
Exactly. Just going back a little bit to when we met on the train, I meet so many people, and you actually met me during the time I was raising money to go to Ghana because I had to pay for the trip, I had to pay for videos. And I saw this fly man in this suit with this sharp hat and this fly guitar. I said, wait a minute, who is this? I have to know who this is. And it turned out that it was you. And I am so glad that I met you. So once again, thank you for having me. But I just had to tell you my side and how I perceived you and how that connection was made. Going back to just my artistry and where I stand with that, every artist needs a why. It can't be like, I'm doing this because I can. I'm doing this because, you know, it really has to be a passion. Otherwise, you know, if you are doing this thing just because you think it's what you maybe should be doing or you're good at it, it maybe won't last for you. I mean, it's going to take a lot out of you if it does. The only way you can sustain true artistry is if you are passionate about what you're doing and you really believe in what you're doing. And for me, I can't sing just based on my past experiences with working with different people in the industry, them having me sing about a whole bunch of nonsense with, that's when I've really said, okay, I have to write my own music, because I can't just sing about what these people are giving me to sing about. I mean, at very young age, they had me sing about, like, I'm ready to give my body to you, and they just had me singing a whole bunch of stuff at a young age, and it was something that was just it was empty until I really, really started to sing what was on my heart. And I was always told that, sing your gospel, you're anointed. And I don't classify my music as, gospel. It is gospel in a way because it's truth. And I feel like it's truth that, we need to hear, whether it's something that I'm singing about in my love life, I'm sure that somebody else can attest to, or whether it's something that I'm singing about, like, just where I should be in terms of just a revelation that I'm having, that I feel that everybody needs to have to get us back where we belong, in terms of my song, Revelation, that came out, another one, Power, like, really empowering people. That's my passion. So yeah, I have been told, maybe that's that I won't go like mainstream because of, what you're singing about. Because I don't sell sex, I don't sell drugs or money, or it's just not me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think that's great, because, and that's a great example, because, like, you, of course, everyone has to go through the trials and tribulations, right? But it took you in the beginning to singing those empty list songs to be like, this is not me. And people could continue doing that just to sell
make
themselves.
money
Yeah.
or
For the money.
Money,
Yeah.
attention. But you was like, no, I can't continue. Like, this is like hurting my spirit in the long run.
In the long run. It's true.
I want to.
Time is too short and of the essence.
What did you start learning about? I guess what were some of the lessons that, like, eternally, that music and also music brought to you, and also writing your own stuff brought to you? Because I feel like it's two different journeys now. Once you're writing it, exposing yourself, and now singing it, putting the feelings behind those words.
I mean, it's a totally different experience with, like, living something. I think it was Lauryn Hill that says, like, because, she made it to the public, she made one good album, and then, that was her revelation to the world. And she said, I can't make music unless I have the experience. Like, I can't make empty music, like you just said. So it's singing from a different perspective. That thing hit different when you on stage singing about something you've been through, or singing about something that you've lived. Yeah, it definitely hits different. A lot of times when I turn on my microphone, I don't write it down. I write it down after. I'll turn the music on and the words will come to me. And then I'll go back, and then what words I don't get, I'll fill in with a little mumble, and then I'll go back and I'll fill it in with something that makes sense. But most of the time, I would say 85% of the time, it just comes from, my spirit and something that needs to be said.
Wow, that's
beautiful. Yeah.
I also want to know, what was it like now performing with other people now that you have yourself intact? Because now you was performing in the beginning, right? Following other people's directions. They want you to sing this, sing that. And then now you just left that. It was like, I'm going to sing my way, what I want, with purpose. And if I work with anybody else, I'm looking for the same exact thing as well. Because I don't want to just waste these things on a track that's not giving me what I'm possibly like looking for. So how is it now once you started really singing and working with others, once you connected with yourself on what you want to do?
I am very, I would say, protective, first off, over my energy now, which we have to be. I sometimes get offered money to do features, but if I don't agree with the message, I'm not going to do it. It's definitely something that you have to protect, because it's a gift from God. And when you look at it that way, the more you protect it. When you do what you need to do for yourself, it's always going to make other people uncomfortable that have, I would say, the intention to have things their way, get something out, manipulate you, or if it's not going, their way. So I have definitely learned some things over the years. When it comes to making my own decisions, I've been told, you're not a good businesswoman. You can't be an artist and be your own, manager, or you can't, be an artist and be your own, person that makes, executive decisions. I disagree with that. I do believe you need a strong team. I have learned that over time. There is nothing in this industry, you can't do it alone, but you do need that share a vision, that share your vision, because if you don't have a vision, someone else will take you and mold you to what they want their vision to be. And so you just have to be very sure about what it is that you want. I'm not saying that it's not good to, take advice, but then again, that it all goes back to being around like-minded people who have like energies, so that you guys can, grow together. So something I've learned over the years, that, you have to be very selective to who's in, your circle and that you're growing.
In your journey, you see, you have a team that you're working with right now. What hurdles or challenges did you have to go through to find that team that you can trust? Because it's difficult to trust people at times, especially in this industry. So how were you able to find that team that you can say, you know what, you got my back? Was it really challenging for you, or was it something that was really easy for you?
Yeah, well, it's never easy finding, the right people. And, I'm still building a team, but I will say it starts with you first, as in the artist. Speaking in terms of, if there's an artist that's watching this right now, it definitely starts with you. And then you kind of set your standards, and you guys set your expectations. I've been through a few different, I would say, management styles. I've experienced management styles. I'm someone that I can well with anyone. I'm really, flexible. Then I learned you can't be too flexible in your artistry, because again, people will take advantage of you. So I have faced some challenges and hurdles with my current team. They've seen me go through ups and downs, the emotional experience of, with going, being in relationships and this and that, and to go through those ups and downs with you. And so it's never really an easy thing, but I can't commend everybody that is on my team has been me down from, management. Currently being managed by, her name is Risa, and I met her 5 years ago, and we just met randomly on a street. I invited her to my video shoot that I was doing the next day. She showed up, did some behind the scene footage. She also shoots a bit. And we just kind of really, really clicked, and here we are 5 years. Started to manage me. She just kind of went into that role because she knew me the best. And, we have a respect for each other. And it wasn't one of those dominating things where, like, I'm your mentor and I say, do this. We work together, and it's almost seamless because we've been working at our relationship for about 5 years. I have a creative director who I've also been working with, who directs, co-directs, and writes treatments for any visions that you see. We've been working together for a while. Am I still with you guys?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, we've also been working together for a while. And I have a stylist. He's out in Chicago now with all this pandemic. But this is a team that up 4 a.m, be waiting in the dark for a video shoot, waiting for me to get there. Like, they are really, really like my ride or live. I always say ride or live, not ride or die. I want my team to live on.
I like that.
I like that too.
And I give them the power in the world, and I salute them because they're we've been. It's almost like we have definitely worked to get our dynamic, but it's not that we all came together.
When it comes to your music, you say you sing a lot and you write a lot through experience. I want to know how far along is that? Like, do you write something right away? You go through something, or you allow that to simmer until you found a place to be like, okay, I'm ready now to go in the booth and maybe let something come out? Or is it a mixture of both?
It's a mixture. I've learned my experience that it's best to capture that emotion when you're in it. There have been times that I don't hold grudges. I don't hold on to things. I don't know. Sometimes maybe that's why I end up in the same cycles, but I forget all of the terrible shit that people do to me, and I'm just like, I forgive you, But now I learned to kind of just use just kind of be a little bit more reserved and pay attention. But in the heat of the moment, it is best to kind of capture that emotion on wax. It's always a good thing to get it while it's hot. Strike while the iron is hot, because you get all of that emotion in the vocals. You get all the growls, you get all the hurt, whatever it is that you're going through. For me personally, my vocals just kind of reflect that. So I've tried to record while I was removed from a situation, and I couldn't think of any words, but I forgave the person quick. I'm like, dang, maybe I should have recorded that while I was going through that situation, and if maybe come across
hold on.
But that's just for me. I have to kind of tackle it while I'm in it.
I want to know also, you haven't, I'm sorry,
No,
I'm
go
asking all
ahead,
these questions.
Go ahead.
I haven't spoken in a long time,
I
so
know.
I'm like, hey, what about this? What about that? I noticed that you work with kids a lot, and I want to know, what are some things that you learn from kids that they constantly remind you of, like, besides patience, but like maybe musically or in life, creatively too? What is something that you learn from them, since it seems like you love like working with kids, and I'm like, I see the videos that you share and you guys always laughing, cracking jokes, but what is something that you feed off of them that is a constant reminder that you use in your creative juices?
That is a really really good question. Kids excite me because they don't have filters, and they don't have like any like ill intentions. They just, so if they see me one day, my eyebrows are like not done or something, they're like, ooh, they call me Miss Samira. Miss Samira, what happened to your eyebrows? They're just very raw. They would tell me if one's crooked and one's not. They would let me know. They're very straightforward, and I really love their straightforwardness and just their pureness. But they always teach me. Sometimes we write songs together, and they come up with the most profound lyrics where I'm like, oh my God, you're like a co-writer to like my song right now. I have to take this and now use it for a song. And they're like, all right, Miss Samir, are we gonna make a video to this, or when do you want to schedule this? Because they really do excite me. They teach me new things. They teach me just a new level, because it's like when you're young, you have this level of just confidence and bravery. You go into like this brave space, and then as you get older, life happens. And sometimes you get a little less brave, and you're aware of different things, and you're aware of other adult humans that criticize you, and you're, I mean, not that they don't go through this as kids, but it's like they have like this resilience about them, that they don't care. And so sometimes as adults, we have to learn that don't care, just go for it. And so they always refill me with bravery.
Yeah, it seems like they're giving you constant reminders of the people that you used to dealt with that were the opposite, and they was trying to infiltrate you with all this shit that you don't need. That these kids always remind you to stay brave, stay honest, and be yourself.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
and as constant reminders to stay that within yourself, and also surround yourself around that too. So like when you're building your team now, like, you know, now these people on your team, they're examples of some of the kids that you deal with that are always showing you these things.
I definitely agree with you. They do teach me new things every day, and it is very much a reflection of my team and the type of energy that I keep around me.
I was gonna say too, I want to point out that you know, the way you dress too, I feel like it also is a part of you and also plays in your music. Not only like you're a beautiful woman, but like the way you dress too. Like you pointed out my hat and all that stuff, but I was like, when I was looking at your thing, I was like, where she got them shoes from? All right, cool, that's nice. But I felt like, you know, it reminds me in a sense of like I always tell her like, yo, Ava DuVernay is hot, like she's sexy to me. But she's not showing no titty, no nipples falling out, no coochies out. You know what I'm saying? It's just classiness. And the same thing for her as well. So I'm like, the way she dresses, I'm like, but I also feel like that plays, it's like a package with your music as well. Was that something that, you know, fashion was always something that you loved as well?
You know, fashion, I'm not gonna lie, it was not always something I love. I grew up a tomboy. Okay, I grew up to play football, basketball in the middle of the street, in Newark, New Jersey. Like I feel like God takes you through a journey that prepares you for what you're going to do. And I didn't really know anything about, you know, fashion. My sister was like the fashionista. I mean, yes, I would watch her, but I always like to be comfortable. Like I like hoodies, but I like to wear my heels too. I've grown into that. I got a job styling, being a personal stylist on Fifth Avenue, at the Ralph Lauren store at Club Monaco. And it was like a whole world, a new world, a door of fashion that like opened my eyes after working with different styles, seeing different things, putting different patterns together. I'm like, oh, I like this. I was just reintroduced to new things. And it really did groom me into being more of a fashionista naturally. Nothing forced, nothing, it was just something that I went through and ended up picking up. I've witnessed it my entire life because, my mama used to dress us up Easter Sundays and, we were dressing, when you go do, back to school shopping, you pick out your outfits, but I really had to go through a journey for myself with fashion. And that's actually how I met my creative director. I was his personal stylist. And whenever he would come in on the Fifth Avenue store, I would just take him through the collection. And it would be these grand, like $1,000 pieces of just beautiful fabrics. But anyway, I had to grow into that. And yes, it is a reflection of your artistry, what you look like. And thanks.
No problem. What was it difficult for you to make that transition from your first name to the second name? Like, did you have this moment? I always ask artists this because sometimes on the show, artists always.
Wait, can I just say, we've
Yeah.
been in quarantine for months, and I have not wore heels any this year. Can we just say that? I have not worn heels.
Yo,
none
I
this year.
got some clothes that I bought during quarantine because everything is like 90% off, and I'm like, when I'm gonna wear this, I don't know. I just put these blazers in
We're
there.
gonna have to wear every weekend.
I'm
for
still
the
wearing
house.
shorts and underwears. I'm like, it's great, but I'm like, when I'm gonna wear this?
Like, I forgot what it was like to put on, makeup, or, I haven't put on any makeup or getting dressed really. But yeah, just had to say that. I mean, it feels good.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, feels good. Just saying. But going to the transition.
Yeah, was it difficult for you to make that transition, even though you knew the name was powerful?
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of artists that I had on the show, they always had this moment where there was a transition, where it's like, okay, this is the route I want to go, or there's a change. And I always ask them, was it difficult?
I always knew that I wouldn't.
Hold on. You hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just saying, I just wonder, was it difficult? Because I feel like there's a lot of artists that I had on the show that, always had this moment where they had to make a change. And I feel like it's always crucial to ask that for everyone, because everybody's journey is different. So how did that go for you to change, the name? Was it that difficult? Did you have doubt, fears? Because I'm glad you made the change after you explained it, because I'm like, yeah, that's definitely it. So
Yeah. I feel like I always knew I wanted to go ahead and change my artist name, even though I'm not changing my name. I'm just shifting my artist name over to my middle name. My mom was my first manager, and she is still, in my life. Like, she's right upstairs now. And she's always like giving suggestions. Oh, what if you do this? She's like, what if you go by Ajada? What if you go by Ajada? I'm like, I just didn't really have that push until I met that one lady who told me to look into my name. So on that side, it was a no-brainer at that point. But on the back end of it, it was crucial and hectic a little bit, because I had to switch over all of the Spotify, everything that's streamed, all of my YouTube, everything, all of that needed to be switched over. I mean, it was well worth the work. And then there is your core fan base that is familiar with Samira Gibson, and now they're like, who is this on my timeline? Ajada Reigns. Who is this new person?
That's exactly that happened to me. And I was like, look, I'm like, when did I follow Ajada? And I'm like, and then I looked at the pictures. I'm like, that's her name now. I'm like, what happened? So I was confused until I looked at it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna ask her what's the name?
Yes, and so I get that a lot, and so Ajada.
She said Ajada. Like some, she did like some Spanish. She Ajada.
My brain reads like the J in Spanish. If I read something the first time that I've never, so I was like Ajada, and I'm like, no, because
what happens is that
the spelling.
The Spanish family be laughing with the ha 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 with the J-A-J-A-J-A. So that's how she read it with.
No, because J the sound J in Spanish is ha ha. It's not J.
You guys are hilarious. Yeah. So yeah, I get that. I do get that pretty often. So now it's just really going and telling, my core fans, like, I had to be told by management, like, hey, okay, so maybe you should kind of go in and explain what's going on with your name, because some people are a little bit confused. I'm like, it's okay, they'll figure it out over time. It's all right. It's okay.
What is success to you? because, you know, in the industry, and we're both in this type of industry of entertainment, and I learned early on that the definition of success, there's many different versions of it. But then I'm glad I kind of learned this early on, that, you know, the success for me is doing what I love, and wherever that will take me. Would I love to make a living off of this? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, me performing, creating shows, and connecting with people, and connecting to myself, and learning through that, I'm more than happy than that. So, what is success to you, and what do you want to reach in the long run? Because I know you have reached a lot of people, and I'm an example of that over a simple Arthur song on the 6 train.
Yeah.
You know, and someone may think it's like, oh, that's you know, that's all right, that's cute, but actually that's kind of powerful, because here we are, you know, from that moment, watching, you came to my show, I came to your show, we're friends, we're in Zoom. So that's that one song and that encounter
and the train.
Look where it took this relationship. So what is success to you?
I think you said it in a nutshell. It's truly doing whatever it is that you love to do, fulfilling your passion, fulfilling everything that you desire, and just doing what it is that you love. Then there's that other part where, yes, doing what you love, but I would also like to be able to sustain, and you know, you need money. There's the other side of it, you know, like you have to be able to carry out, you know, everything that you desire. You want to be able to sustain yourself with that, you know, in speaking financially. I want to be able to, in the long run, reach the different fields that I want to reach. I want to do voiceovers. I want to do cartoons.
I was going to ask you, what else you would like to do besides singing?
Yeah. I discovered, a passion for directing. So not just being in front of the camera, but, you know, being, you know, behind the camera, helping other people with their dreams. That's a passion of mine. Kids are a passion. Obviously, we talked about that. I want to eventually build a program which is going to translate into a school somewhere over in Ghana. The kids in Ghana took my heart. There are a lot of African countries that they don't really encourage their kids to pursue the creative passions that are within them. They push them to be doctors, lawyers, engineers, and that's like the extent of that's their success when they are so talented and they have multiple talents. They don't have to just do those things. That's what I think, you know, success is, and a lot of them grow up to feel like they could have done something else, or that they wanted to do something else. When I went there, I was literally doing a studio session with a guitarist, and he had to hurry up and finish the session. He says, I have a surgery to perform, so I have to get this done. I said, oh my God. Wait, you're a surgeon and you're okay. This can be done.
Hilarious.
Well, he's fulfilling.
I said, well, where are you going now? He said, yeah, I have an open heart surgery to perform. I was like, wow, I am in a session with a guitarist, open heart surgeon.
Yeah. Damn.
Got it.
That's great, though. That's
That
awesome.
is great, because he's at least, I mean, whether or not being a doctor is his passion, but at least he's still fulfilling that passion.
He's still fulfilling.
He's still successful because
yes, and so exactly,
and he's responsible too, because he's responsible because he booked that session. He was like, okay, I will do your heart at 4:30, and and at 2:00 I play the G chord.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what happened. and he did not want to leave. When I tell you he did not want to leave, I mean he stayed into the last minute.
He called the patient. Do you really need your heart today? Can we do tomorrow?
Can't you wait?
I'm with Ajada. I'm with Ajada. Is it Ajada or Ajada? Ajada. I'm with Ajada. We're drinking wine. We're having a good time.
Why you need your heart now?
Oh my God. But to me, I want to definitely give them that outlet. I want to give the kids that outlet. They are so very smart, so talented. Us of just being people of culture, we just have so much to offer. But yeah, that's just a little bit of what I want to do. That's my definition of success: doing what you love and being able to sustain yourself in doing that.
Before we go to our last segment, there's one last question I want to ask you, because I know you said you sang gospel in church, and I want to know what did that fulfill you? What did you learn from that about your voice? Because I know growing up, and I shared this in a podcast episode, that the Spanish church when I used to go wasn't doing it for me because the music was whack, bro.
What Spanish church you went to?
My Spanish church, that shit was whack.
It was rocking.
Yo, I used to tell my mom, we're going to the black church at 12 because the black mass at 12 o'clock, oh my God, they were singing it. This Little Light of Mine, they brought it. They had the drums, they had the guitar, and I was like, this is music. And then I guess the Spanish church, like the mass was losing people because everybody was going to the black mass. And then I noticed when I went, they brought a guitarist, and the guitarist, he must have been half black too, because he started singing and playing. And I was like, okay, he got some soul now. And I guess they learned from the black mass. But I know from the church, what I got from it was just the power of song and what it could do to you, to lift you up, and the feeling, the rawness behind it. So that's what I got from it. That's how I started looking at the guitar, because I was like, oh man, what is that? And then I went on this route and I got into the guitar. So for you, singing it, being a part of that community as well, what did that fulfill in your music and in your voice?
Yeah, I feel like that transition happened even in the black church. That transition happened. Like we needed something more to, when the later generations, we weren't really feeling the traditional thing anymore. That transition also happened within the black churches. I remember when Kirk Franklin first came out, and they were like, Kirk Franklin's the devil. Like he's just going against everything. What is he doing? Like they didn't really understand that new age of what what he was offering at that time. But it taught me so much, from like the traditional to, the new school, gospel. And for me, a valuable lesson that I learned in singing in church is that, and it, even now, what I use my music for, it's not about you. It's not about you. That's the most valuable lesson. I remember one time I was singing a song, and this has been a song that, when I was like the one that would, me and my sisters, we had a gospel choir. It was three of my sisters, and we all sing. My dad sings, and my little brother, he's also an artist. His name is Justice Plant. I really want to introduce you guys to him as well.
Yes.
Put you guys on. But I remember singing this song in church, and this was one of the songs that I sing everywhere I go. There's that one song that you always sing. This was that one song that I had sang at like a lot of churches. And I knew the song with my eyes closed, in my sleep, turned around 3 times. Like I knew this song. And the moment I sang at this one church, I remember thinking, I maybe I want to be a singer. Maybe this is something that I could do. And I remember a voice in my head, like making it about me at that moment and not really ministering or singing to the people. And just that quick in 30 seconds, I said, oh, I can never forget this song. When I tell you, my brain went blank and I forgot the words. That was the value lesson. I was like, God saying, like, don't ever forget. And this is in front of thousands of people. Yeah. I forgot this song that I had sang so many times.
So what did you do?
Yeah, what happened next? I'm like, I'm watching the episode.
Oh, I pretend like I got the spirit.
Forget it. People forget.
That's great. Just take your time, baby. Take your time. Let it run through you. Let it run through you.
Oh, that was great.
I said,
That is too good.
But
did it ever come back? Did the words ever come back?
It came back after I had, you know, me and God had a conversation in that moment. I was like, God, I'm sorry. It's not about me. It's not about me. I won't make music for me. I'll make it for people. I'll make it for people. And then it came back to me. His eye is on the spell.
There it go. There it go. It came back. That is
you guys making me hot. I can't. I'm having so much fun with you guys.
Or the wine?
I think it's a little bit of both.
It's us.
In this hoodie, it might be.
So we're almost done. Yes. We got this last segment, and this segment is called "Let's Look Inside." And there's 3 questions for this segment, and we're looking for like short answers. Doesn't have to be this long thing. And the first question is, what do you love about yourself?
That's a trick question, because the same thing I love about myself, it drives me nuts. And we talked about it a little bit earlier. We spoke about me being able to not hold grudges and forgive very easily. I have a huge heart, and I'm always ready to love, even people that have like not good intentions for me. But my ability to be able to forgive very quickly and not hold on to things, I feel like it helps me to stay young. It helps me to stay light. It helps me to stay positive, and to not hold on to what someone else has done to me or intended to, do to me. But it ends me back up in a cycle of that. But I've learned to definitely use my discretion with those things.
Nice.
Yeah. So being able to forgive. I love that.
The second question is, what does the American dream mean to you?
Reparations in my bank account.
That's very key.
I'm just saying. Yeah. The American dream means, it means seeing my people succeed, and my people having equal opportunity, and being able to live in peace in a land that, we work hard to build. That's the American dream for me.
The last question is, if the average lifespan was 40 years old, how would you live differently?
If the average lifespan was 40, meaning what would I do with those 40 years?
Yep. Like if you knew that's it. Yeah, you only got, at 40 years old, you're going back with the Lord. So you're going to come into this journey. What would you do differently?
Oh, man. I would... I would want to start super, super early, learning about I would say business in my earlier years, like the Jewish do it with their kids. Like they teach them about business super young, and just try to pour into like the younger generations that have kids. I don't have any kids right now, but I would just do my best to like build myself, build my community, build the economy, try my best to just be productive every single moment. I will be on a really, really strict schedule of like waking up at like 5 a.m. and having a decent amount of sleep to wake up at 5 a.m. again to work towards my goals. I mean, you can do that now, but sometimes, you know, you have to remind yourself, and we have to live like we only have 40 years. We have to like, this is a really good question, because sometimes I'll wake up that early and I'll be very, very productive. And sometimes I'm like, oh God, I just want to sleep in. But we don't know when our last day is. So we always have to live every day to the fullest and live every day like it's our last, because we don't know the place or time. So I would just try to be as productive as I can, and also just try to be as happy as I can and make everyone happy around me, and try to just learn and pass on as much as I can, so that the next, you know, generation can get the most out of their lives. Sorry, I didn't mean to make that all drawn out. But
No, that's great.
Your
Thank
version.
you. It's your version.
I wanted to shout out
Go ahead.
Go
a lot
ahead.
of fucking audacity. This hoodie was made by my friend, Cold Crown Creative, Kawan Walker. He's really, really, really dope. So I am wearing his hoodie during this interview. I just wanted to shout him out. It's one of my favorite hoodies, not because he's my friend, because I just love it. You can just kind of take it however you receive it, take it.
Take it.
You are now checking out
The Win Podcast
where everyday people
are the celebrities.
so let's get to know them.